Welcome, friends. Today, we are doing another fragrance review. Nice. And the fragrance we will be reviewing today is Sartorial by Penhaligon's. Excellent. Excellent. I promise this is Sartorial by Penhaligon's because this bottle has seen better days. It is not in the rudest of health. So, it's come off a little bit around the label and stuff like that. You can see that, but what can you do? This was released in 2010, and the nose is Bertrand Duchefort. It's a bloody good nose. So this review will follow my tried and tested review technique, where I will tell you the notes. I will tell you the notes that are most prevalent to me, the notes that I get the most, and then I will just talk about it until I'm finished talking about it, really. Excuse me whilst I hydrate. So, the notes from this are aldehydes, ozonic effect, metal effect, violet leaf, neroli, cardamom, black pepper, fresh ginger, beeswax, cyclamen, linden blossom, lavender, leather, gurjum wood, patchouli, myrrh, cedar wood, tonka bean, oak moss, white musk, honey effect, old wood effect, vanilla and amber. Fucking old wood effect. You know what I mean? Has your old wood been affected? Who knows? So the main notes to me in this are massively lavender. The slightly metallic effect, beeswax, honey, and there is a distinction to be drawn there. Myrrh, old wood effect, if you can believe that. It still makes me laugh. I've been aware of this old wood, this old wood vibe for a while. I don't want to get too familiar with old wood, if I'm being honest, but here it is. And the aldehydes as well, would you believe, which I believe is part of like the metallic sort of thing. So, when you first spray this, right, when you first spray this, you are greeted by this really dry, starchy, white brightness. You know, it's got that kind of, when it says like metallic notes or metallic effect, it gives that. It's got like a steam, you know, like when you're ironing. It's got that kind of thing going on. It does have that kind of smell of what you would think an old world tailor's would smell like a 1900s, 1800s tailor's would smell like. High quality hardwood floors, men in suits, a very clean, crisp environment, no smoking on the shop floor, clean hands, that sort of thing. And that sort of starchy dryness stays with the fragrance almost all the way through. It does sort of taper off towards the end. But it does have that kind of fresh, crisp white shirt thing going on all the way through it. In case you didn't know, this perfume is based on an experience at a tailor's shop in London. The inspiration for this creation was Savile Row bespoke tailor Norton & Sons workshop. So that is a tailor's in London on Savile Row. Of course, Savile Row famous for being home of the bespoke suit, bespoke tailor, very famous old street where lots of like ye old world tailors go. I beg your pardon. Excuse me whilst I hydrate. And so Penhaligons wanted to capture the sort of experience. I believe it does capture that experience rather well and fully. It has this sense of age and provenance and history about it. It's an extremely interesting fragrance in its makeup. It's very complex, as you can hear from the tome of notes that are in it. But that some notes stand out more than others. And this fragrance for me is based around lavender. It's got this old world clean vibe to it. Not modern clean, old clean. Something well looked after, something well made, something traditional. Excuse me. That feeling is helped by the fact that it's a fougere. Lavender, oak moss, tonka bean, patchouli. So it fits in with that sort of like tradition of those fragrances. But then the way Bertrand Duchefort has used things like aldehydes, beeswax, honey, and even this kind of metal steam kind of twist gives it this relevancy, gives it this, there's still a place in the world for this fragrance, and there's still a place in the world for high quality handmade goods, but it'll always come at a price. The price of this fragrance certainly didn't used to be too bad. You used to be able to pick it up at discounters. I'm not sure that you still can. Discounters ain't what they used to be, folks. Which is a terrible shame for the consumer. But less of that. There's the performance on this is massive on me. I get all day from this. You can spray this on at 8 o'clock in the morning. You'll still be able to get whiffs of it at 6 o'clock at night. So you're talking 10 hours, maybe even longer. Or until it's washed off. So you're talking 10 to 12 hours, you know. It will always smell fresh and clean, but not in a blue sort of way. It's not like a Bleu de Chanel. It's not a Dylan Blue. It doesn't have anything sort of dirty about it, but it smells old. It smells classic. The beeswax and the honey. So I said before there's a distinction to be drawn between the two, and there is. The beeswax, right, adds this kind of dryness, this kind of texture, like a grainy sort of thing. If you've ever like eaten or bitten into beeswax, then you'll know it's got like a sort of grainy, sugary kind of texture, whereas honey has a lot less of that, if any at all. And the graininess and the structure of the beeswax, that's what it gives the perfume. It gives it structure. It gives it like a scaffold. It feels like the other notes can hang off of it. But there's a lot of moving parts, very slowly moving parts. But there are moving parts, things like the cardamom, things like the oak moss. The fragrance traverses from the top to the base very slowly but very purposefully, and I don't think it could do that, and it wouldn't work as well if it wasn't for the beeswax note. The honey gives it this kind of fluidity, this kind of, but only in one direction, like water flowing down a hill, you know. The beeswax provides structure. The leather note in this is very, very soft, but it is there, and it's a fresh leather kind of thing. Like imagine like an old pair of boots, like shoes, brogues, things like that. Smart. It's fresh, but interesting. Could you wear this on the highest of high heat? I don't think that you could. Could you wear this on the coldest of days? More chance of you wearing it on the coldest of days than the hottest of days, because it's got that structure, it's got that strength. But I think it might be a little too fresh for that. It's got some resins in as well, things like myrrh, amber, like honey acts is like almost like a resin. I'm interested in this Gurgen balsam sort of thing. I'm still not entirely sure what it smells like, because if it's there, I don't really sense anything that I'm unfamiliar with in this fragrance, you know? So, and I mean, it's the first time I've heard of it. When I was like research, I was unaware it was there, to be honest with you. So, excuse me. If it is there, then fair play to it. It must be doing a fixative sort of job, because it ain't doing a smelling job. You know, it ain't providing big smell. The running theme through this perfume is lavender. It's noticeable at the top, it's noticeable at the mid, and it's noticeable in the base. And the other notes kind of support this flow from brisk, sharp, crisp at the top to this sort of slightly warm, rounder base with the honey and the tonka bean through this dry stage in the middle with the beeswax. It's a very interesting ride. It's a very worthwhile perfume to smell, at least smell. I'm glad I've got a bottle. Would I replace it when it's gone? Not sure. Haven't made my mind up yet, to be honest with you. Probably, but I would try and find as old a bottle as I possibly could. I'm not entirely sure what the modern formulation smells like. This bottle was old when I bought it, which was about 5 or 6 years ago. Not sure if there's any surefire ways to identify it as a perfume, as like age-wise. But I imagine since Penhaligons have got an in-house perfumer now, who isn't Bertrand Duchefort, that they will take care of their fragrances when they reformulate them. I hope so anyway, because it's a perfume worth saving, this one, you know. And that's it. An interesting perfume, a good perfume. Certainly a lot better than most of the stuff we've been served up in the last 15 years. Fresh, traditional with a modern twist. Worthwhile. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I will see you again soon.